What we have here are the essential tools and items that you need in order to disassemble and clean a PTW magazine. First is the magazine itself, and then you have some Q-tips. You're going to need a small Phillips head screwdriver, a set of jeweler screwdrivers. I use a 2mm Allen wrench instead of a punch. They're the same size. It'll get your pins out. You're going to need a set of pliers and a little bit of a silicone. Now the first step in disassembling your PTW magazine is to knock out the two pins that are at the top of your magazine, here and here. Sometimes you'll find that it's difficult to remove the pins by hitting them through, and that's where my pliers come in handy. I simply grab the pin, do a little twist, and pull towards the top, and they slowly remove. Now with that done, you set these aside in a safe spot. Don't lose them. The next step is to remove the plastic from the inside of your magazine. These can be a little tough to get out. You just got to keep wiggling them. You don't want to force it because it is plastic and you will break it. If it does get tough, in the very bottom you will notice that there is a hole right here. You can put a small screwdriver or anything through the hole and push the plastic up, and it will then become easier to pull. There we go. The most important about it is remember not to pressure anything like that. If you try to force it, you're not going to be happy with the results. You could break your $50 magazine and nobody wants that. So slide it all the way out. And once you get it all the way out, there's little tabs on the magazine, so you tilt it back and you push it forward. And out comes the guts of your magazine. You can then set aside your casing. The next step is you're going to remove the metal piece right here on the front. When you do, be careful. There are two little springs that could spring loose. When you do, that's what this is holding in. You see the spring right here that is holding in. You're going to want to remove this spring. This is a point in time I like to utilize my jeweler's set. You gently remove it. And make sure you don't lose these springs, because if you lose them, you're never going to get them back. There's one on each side. At this point in time, now that you've removed the springs, you want to remove these tiny little black pieces right here. And with those two pieces removed, just put them aside. The next step in this process is to remove the 9 screws which hold your PTW magazine guts together. They're these 8 silver screws and there's 1 gold screw up here. Now this is the moderately dangerous process which can result in breaking of the entire magazine. What you need to do is insert a long screwdriver into the BB feed hole and start prying a little bit, and when you see a little crack, stick a flathead in there and you can hear it pop a tiny bit. That's the glue breaking. And just slowly work your way down and open a little by little. Point in time in which you do get it open, there are lots of things which will start popping loose. The important things to look for that are the hardest ones to find are these two metal pins that go into the top here, as well as two of these little black buggers, as well as two springs, one here that has a follower on it, and the other here has what I call the connector on it. Now, it's important, you'll see when you're looking at this connector closer, it's kind of hard to see in the video, but there is a curve to it. It is very important when you reinstall it that you keep that curve consistent with the curve of the magazine. Otherwise, you're only going to get about 50 BBs in there instead of the 120 because it'll jam up. Alright, at this point in time, I take a dry cotton swab and just run it through the track. Basically just removing any debris that I can from it, shit that'll clog up your magazine and make it not run right. If you have a can of compressed air, that works great as well. As you can see, this, I don't know if you can tell, but there's some chopped BB fragments in here. So there are some issues with this mag that this cleaning will hopefully allow it to be feeding now. Now, after cleaning out the debris, what I like to do is just put 2 little drops of 100% silicone on there. Make sure that you're not using anything that's going to eat away plastic, or basically it's over. So 2 drops of pure silicone on there, just a tiny bit, and then running it through the track. Just enough to give it a little lubrication. Then I run once through with the dry to make sure I pick up any excess. Now with that done, you are ready to reinstall everything. When reassembling the magazine, I like to keep the spring decompressed, and you just double check that you have your connector with the same curve as the magazine as well as your follower. You put the other half on and you hold it down. You start compressing your spring back into the magazine. The difficult part becomes at the end, and you got to get your follower past the magazine part. And I like to use a little screwdriver and pop it past. There you go. Once it's in there, the way you'll know that it's for sure right is you'll be able to push down that follower. It just keeps going back up.